All right, we are back. NHL 18, episode 12 of our franchise mode with the Calgary Flames. What a July it has been for the Calgary Flames. July of 2018, maybe one of the most exciting months in franchise history, and it's all because the Calgary Flames signed the most coveted free agent to ever hit the market in the National Hockey League free agency period. And that, of course, is the all-star, the superstar, the franchise centerman, John Tavares, signing a 4-year, $42 million contract with the Calgary Flames. 10.5 is what I was trying to say per season. So $42 million with the Calgary Flames over 4 years. That is such a big contract, but it is definitely going to be worth it for the Calgary Flames. So yes, at the end of episode 11, we made the very big signing of John Tavares, bringing him into Calgary to play with our forward group there. And as you can see, he is obviously by far our highest rated player in terms of trade value right here, and in terms of overall at 92. The mic's falling there. Fix that up here for a second. He is our highest paid player as well at 10.5 mil per season by 4 years, and 27 years of age. So very excited to have John Tavares in the fold with the Calgary Flames to go along with Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and company. It was a bit of a price that we had to pay, even though it was free agency. We lost the services of Michael Backlund in episode 11. He just decided not to sign with the Calgary Flames anymore. He decided after about 6 contracts that we had offered him, he decided to deny all of them and test the market, and he had about 7 or 8 teams, I think, lined up for him. He did choose to go with the Carolina Hurricanes here, so we're just going to take a look here at what they signed him for. So here's Michael Backlund, 6.3. So I don't know, because we offered him, our last contract that we offered him was $6.3 million per season. We gave him exactly what he wanted in terms of years, and I believe that was 3. So that's what he ends up signing in Carolina, 3 years at $6.3 million per season. So we definitely offered him that. It's not that we didn't offer him enough money. We offered him that exact same contract that Carolina ends up signing him for. I guess for Michael Backlund, it just came down in this game to which team he preferred to play with, and I guess he feels that the Carolina Hurricanes are a up-and-coming team that he can fit in with at 29 years of age, 85 overall. He might also get a chance to be their number 1 centerman. I just want to quickly take a look here at their center position, and yes, he is by far their number 1 centerman. They got Victor Rask and Jordan Staal in the mix as well, but Michael Backlund will be their number 1 centerman there, so maybe that's part of it. But he was getting a pretty good opportunity with us, but we're not complaining, because at the end of the day, the Calgary Flames have signed this guy, John Tavares. I mentioned in the last video where Tavares might fit in, or maybe I didn't. I forget if I did. So I kind of did the lines here. And just looking, if we kept the top line together with Gaudreau and Monahan and James Neal on the top line, that would obviously put Tavares down with Tkachuk and Frolik. So instead of the 3M line, it's now the 2M line plus JT. So a 2M plus JT on that second line, John Tavares. Obviously, Tavares is not a second line player. He's listed right here as a first line player. You look at his stats, he's obviously an elite number 1 centerman in the league. But I also want to continue to grow Sean Monahan. So Tavares is 27 years of age. He's exact elite, so that means he won't grow anymore. But Monahan, on the other hand, is still growing. He's 88 overall, and he's still got medium elite, only 23 years of age, so still a long ways to go for Monahan. He could potentially get to where Tavares is, and that's at 92. So we definitely want to keep growing Sean Monahan, but in terms of our lines, we're going to give John Tavares top power play time. We're going to give him, 4-on-4, penalty kill, shootout. I mean, you name it, 3-on-3. So he's definitely going to get the ice time that a first-line player would get. But right now, we've got him penciled in on that second line with Tkachuk and Frolik. The reason I did these lines is I just want to see what we're missing. So on that, I'll just go through them really quickly here. Gaudreau is an 88, Monahan 88, Neal 84. Then you got Tkachuk on the second line left wing, 86. Tavares 92 at center. And then Frolik at 83. So a bit of a drop-off there on the right wing with Michael Frolik. Sam Bennett comes in at 82 on that third line with Mark Jankowski at center, 77. And Kris Versteeg 79. So you will remember that in episode 11, we traded away, obviously, Troy Brouwer in that deal that we sent Stone and Brouwer to Philadelphia. But we did re-sign Chris Versteeg, and I figured that he would be playing on our right wing. It turns out that you look here at our right wingers behind Neal and Frolik. We don't actually... Oh, there's Frolik down there. He is a 79. So behind Neal and Frolik, Versteeg comes in and is our next best right winger. So we did sign him for 3 years there at $1.4 million per season. Didn't want to pay him $1.4. That was quite a bit of money. But it turns out he is our third best right winger behind Neal and Frolik. So he's going to come in a very important role for us in this upcoming season. So again, the third line, Bennett, Jankowski, and Versteeg. Bennett's the only 80 of the two. Jankowski and Versteeg high 70s. And then on the fourth line comes Michael Furland at 77. And Curtis Lazar can play on the right wing on the fourth line here at 77 overall as well. Now, the problem here is we don't have a fourth line center. We didn't trade away. We released Matt Stajan, our veteran. We didn't feel it made much sense to bring back Max Stajan anymore. But that problem is that we do not have a fourth line centerman. Now, Curtis Lazar could play fourth line centerman position, but then we'd be without a fourth line right winger. So you can see where we already have some depth problems on this team that we need to address, obviously, going into next season. Now, below the fourth line, the only player that we have as our 13th forward, which we're going to need at least a 13th forward going into next season, is Dmitry Yaskins, and we don't even have him signed yet. So what is Yaskins, a left winger? Yeah, so we don't even have Yaskins signed. We qualified or tendered him because he was an RFA, but we have yet to sign Dmitry Yaskins. So, I mean, even if we get Yaskins signed, we still only have 12 forwards in the NHL. And obviously, you need more than that. You're going to need a fourth-line centerman and a couple more forwards, at least one more forward down there as well. Looking at our defensive position as we go out here to defensemen. So this is the way it looks right now in terms of defensemen. We got Mark Giordano, who's an 87, Dougie Hamilton, 88, TJ Brody, 87, Travis Hamnick, 83. That's our top four. And then on our bottom pairing, we got Brett Kulak, who we brought back. He's a 76 overall. Rasmus Anderson then comes in at a 76 overall. And Joe Morrill, who is also, again, just like Dmitry Yaskins, still an RFA. He's 77 overall. So we have 7 defensemen right now, but we would potentially be like 8 forward or 8 defensemen going in to next season, so we can have them competing for spots and make a decision from there. So even with I'm going to go by overall here. Even with Morrill, Anderson, and Kulak, I mean, that's our bottom pairing right there between these 3 players. So after our top 4, things get pretty weak for us down here. We hope that, especially Morrill and Anderson will be able to grow a little bit more before the start of the season from maybe a 76 and 77. And if they could jump up a bit, that'd be great. But I don't know if they will. So I wouldn't mind adding at least one more defenseman down here, maybe a veteran who is, a solid 80 or solid 79, just to replace the absence of Michael Stone. But obviously, we didn't want to bring on Michael Stone's contract, which he was making $3 million a season. We don't want to be paying that for a 7th or 8th defenseman. So I wouldn't mind adding a depth defenseman right there. And then, as I mentioned, with those forward lines, we obviously need a 4th line centerman, and wouldn't mind adding another winger, maybe a right winger to play. But we also have to finish up with Dmitry Yaskins and Joe Morrill if we have them right now penciled in. Both of them, we have them penciled in on our NHL roster. Not to mention that we still have a list of other players in our RFA pool that we got to get signed as well that will be fitting into our AHL roster. So I think it says right here under our contracts, we only have 31 contracts of 50. So we pretty much have 19 contracts still to sign, available to sign. So we need to get some contracts signed here. We only have $3 million to work with there on our cap space after the signing of John Tavares. So not going to be easy for sure, especially if we want to go to the free agency pool and bring in that depth defenseman and maybe that depth centerman and fourth line centerman, excuse me, and depth forward. So lots to get to, very little money to work with, so it's going to be challenging. But before we get to all of that, I just noticed that in episode 10, when we finished the playoffs in the regular season, we found out that the Toronto Maple Leafs actually won the Stanley Cup for the first time in 51 years. We forgot to look at the NHL awards. So that was something we wanted to do. We just wanted to check out who won the awards. So we had to wait for the Leafs to win the cup to do that, and we forgot to do that. So let's take a look at that very quickly right now, and then we'll get into the rest of our off season. So Stanley Cup champions, obviously Toronto Maple Leafs. President's Trophy champions, obviously Toronto Maple Leafs. They just had a stellar year in the West. It was obviously the Chicago Blackhawks. They beat us in the second round. They ended our season as the 8th seed in the West, and they went on to win a Western Conference championship. And the Prince of Wales, obviously the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that was what it looked like in terms of team awards. Let's take a look at who won the player awards. So the Art Ross, as no surprise, went to Alexander Ovechkin. I forget how many points he had. It was something stupid crazy. Hart Memorial Trophy, no doubt about it, Alex Ovechkin. I have a feeling he's going to win a lot here. James Norris Trophy, Erik Karlsson. So second-time winner, Erik Karlsson there for the second time in, 4 years that he wins the Norris. Lady Byng goes to Connor McDavid. So a year after Johnny Gaudreau picked up his first Lady Byng, Connor McDavid keeps it in Alberta and wins it there for the Oilers. The Calder went to Dylan Strome. A year after Austin Matthews won it. The Conn Smythe went to Frederick Anderson in goal. The Vezina to Tuukka Rask. So it's his second time winning the trophy. William and M. Jennings Trophy also to Tuukka Rask. Bill Masterson to Nicholas Cronwall. Selke to Bergeron. You knew it was going to either be Bergeron, Kopitar, or Taves. Look at Bergeron there. What is that? 4 out of the last 5 years, Patrice Bergeron. That's just insane. A Ted Lindsay Award to, there it is, Alexander Ovechkin. And the Maurice Richard, obviously, Alexander Ovechkin. So just a quick look there at who cleaned up the hardware at the NHL Awards. We mentioned John Tavares was actually really close to Alex Ovechkin in, I think, both goals and scoring. I think he came in the top 5 in both categories. You know what, let's just take a look at it very quickly. I know we looked at it. They have him right now on our team from last year, and he would have destroyed the rest of our team with 92 points. Our next closest player, who actually led our team, was Dougie Hamilton with 67 points. So I mean, you see the type of player we're getting in John Tavares when we're bringing him in here. So going by not AHL here, NHL. We just wanted to look at entire league here. Still getting used to these new menus. All right, entire league. So yeah, Tavares was second in points with 92. So he actually finished just 2 points back of Alex Ovechkin. 2 more points, and the now current Calgary Flame would have had won the Art Ross Trophy. He was tied with Patrick Kane in that category. And when it came to goals, I mean, Alex Ovechkin wasn't even close. He won it with 60 goals. But there again was John Tavares second. So Tavares finishing second in both goals and points last season in the entire NHL, and he is now on our team. I mean, and really the price to pay for that was Michael Backlund and Troy Brouwer and Michael Stone. So not really a bad turn of events for us, if you will. I mean, it was a hefty price. It's a hefty contract to pay. But when John Tavares hits the market, and I know I talked about it in episode 11, about the realism about this. I like to keep my franchise modes as realistic as possible. I don't, I like to keep it as close to real life. John Tavares, I'm saying it right now, in real life, will hit the free agency on July 1, 2018. I have a feeling that it's going to happen. Like I said in the last video, I just don't think he wants to stay in New York on Long Island anymore. I think if he did, the contract would have been done by now. We all know what type of a great player and person John Tavares is in this league and has been for some time. He would have definitely had a deal in place right now with the Islanders if he was going to stay with them. Obviously, he does not feel personally for himself that it makes a lot of sense to stay with New York. He's now 27 years of age. He's been on Long Island his entire life. He hasn't even got close, not even close to a Stanley Cup. He's hardly even got close to the playoffs. A couple seasons in the playoffs. I think for him, he really feels that now is the time to take a shot and take a different direction with a different team and chase that Stanley Cup. He's done so much in his career. Now he just needs that Stanley Cup. So what better place to come than to Calgary, because we are also chasing a Stanley Cup here in Calgary. We got a pretty young and good up-and-coming team, but a team that's really built solidly to contend as early as this up-and-coming 2018-19 season. So we're very happy, as mentioned, to welcome John Tavares into the fold. Obviously, anytime you get a superstar on your team, you are excited. So okay, so we got a lot to get to. So I think what we're going to start with here is I talked about, I'm looking at our lineups right now. I talked about what we're missing, the fourth line centerman, depth forward positioning, and then a 8th or 7th defenseman. And then, sorry, when it came to goalies, I didn't mention it. Mike Smith, 83. John Gillies coming in at 72. Tyler Parsons also coming in at 72. So we're going to give Parsons the entire year next year in the AHL, continue to grow him, but he's already a 72. I hope he jumps again by next season. Same with John Gillies. Both of these guys, I hope they take another step, but it's good to see Parsons already growing after just 1 year pro in the AHL. And he played, obviously, majority of the games. Nick Schneider is our other goalie, by the way. We forgot to, we didn't really forget, we just didn't bring back David Rittich. Who was our backup, but they don't play anything because we're giving all the games to Tyler Parsons, so really just there in case of injury. Okay, so let's get to our RFAs. We'll start with that, and then we'll see how much salary cap we got left to work with when it comes to free agents there. So we have to finish up with our contracts here. So we'll go to our RFAs. Obviously, we got all of our UFAs done. Excuse me, taking a drink there. So let's go RFAs here. So the biggest ones here is I said both Dmitry Yaskins and Joe Morrill, I have them penciled in for our NHL roster. So right now, Dmitry Yaskins is penciled in for our 13th forward spot, but we do not have that 12th forward right now. So technically, Dmitry Yaskins is our 12th forward in the NHL. Which would give him a roster spot, but I have him penciled in as the 13th forward. And then Joe Morrill, I have him penciled in as the 7th defenseman, but really he could be our 6th defenseman too. So these guys are actually, right now, they're in pretty important positions for us. They're both only 25 years of age, and they're still growing, medium top 9 and medium top 6. So it makes a lot of sense to bring these guys back anyway, both 77 overall. And we claimed both guys off of waivers last season in February, I believe it was. So these are the two guys we want to bring back first. And then when it comes to these other guys, these guys are all for our AHL team. Like I said, we need that help down there in the AHL. So I wouldn't mind bringing most of these guys back in the AHL. So let's start with Yaskins and Morrill, and let's view contracts. So this is the problem here. He's asking for, Yaskins is asking for 2 years at 1.6. We only have $3 million to work with. We cannot be affording to give these guys over $1 million a year. I mean, I know that they're important depth guys. I just can't be giving them, 1.6 a year. So I'm going to go 1 year. I have to go 1 year at least under $1 million. I mean, $975K. We just can't. We don't have that type of money. We only have $3 million. I don't even know how we're going to get this all done. So we'll try offering him a contract. And then Joe Morrill, same thing. We can't be giving him 1.3. We're going to have to try and bring him down to under $1 million here, and we'll try 900K. I know these guys are going to reject this, but this has to be a starting point here. We can't go much higher than that. So we'll go with that. Tyler Wotherspoon, hopefully you're asking, yeah, so he's asking for 900K. If Morrill's getting 900K, 800K sounds reasonable for Wotherspoon. So we'll try that. Freddie Hamilton, like these guys, 750K, sure, for 2 years. Again, a depth guy there. 7th defenseman in, let's just go here by potential, because that's what our AHL is about potential. So this would be the next guy we bring in is Ola Madison. 2 years at that, that's okay. We'll bring him in, AHL contract. Hunter Smith, yeah, this guy's a good veteran down there for us. He wants 700K for a year. Sure, we'll try that. Austin Carroll, Lomberg, and Pribble. So I think we will wait on these bottom 3 guys just for now, just see what we got. We'll go to our unsigned players, and these are, of course, our guys we just drafted. So our 4th round pick that we got in Gabriel Jones, we'll offer him his rookie contract right there. So get him locked up. Fisher, we will offer him a contract because he's going to be a UFA next year. So let's get him done with. So Fisher, this Jolly guy, he was also in it. So let's offer him his contract. It's been a dream. He won't let us down. Okay, and then Gavin Kennedy was our second round pick that we took 48th overall. Let's get him locked up. So he's got a spot. So now our contracts are up to 35 out of 50. These guys we also drafted in the 2018 draft, the 2018 draft, 5th round, 6th round, and 7th round respectively, excuse me. We'll leave them for now. We don't have to get them signed until 2020, 2021 here when they become UFAs. So we got a little bit of room to work with when it comes to them. But we got our top prospects that were unsigned signed, and we offered our RFAs, except for those bottom 3 contracts. I just want to see what Morrill and Yaskins are going to come back with. I can guarantee they're not going to accept those contracts, but we will see. So let's advance the day here. I upgraded the club seats or something, so owner's happy. That doesn't matter. Okay, so still nothing out of our RFAs. They have not yet accepted. We'll go one more day here. Hopefully they make a decision. We're now on should be on the 8th. Yeah, we're on the 8th, and nothing. So, I mean, it shouldn't matter too much because we don't have anybody big here that we want to get signed. Left in free agency. Like I said, the guys that we want, we're gonna have to be, getting for the low millions here. So we'll probably be targeting guys down here versus the guys towards the top, which are, what all the teams are lining up for. There's not too many good players left. I just want to see what Yaskins and Morrill are saying, because those are the 2 guys I want to get locked up first. So let's try again one more day. And there's Hunter Smith. He accepts, so that is good. Madison accepts. That is good. Those are the only 2 guys to accept so far. So let's just take a look here. Maybe the other guys denied the contract and it just doesn't tell us. But I think it should have. It should have told us if they deny the contract, because we're at 37 out of 50, so we're still okay. So we still offer them a contract, which means they're still deciding. Wotherspoon, Freddie Hamilton, Morrill, and Yaskins. So, again, I'll wait on Pribble and Lomberg and Carroll for just a second. Sorry, I just wanted to see what our salary cap space was left there. So, we're still 3 mil. Maybe we can make an offer to one of the free agents right now. Again, I don't want to be going crazy when it comes to that. Terms of money, I mean, we need these depth guys, but we just can't be paying a lot. So the guys that we want right now, if we had to pick 2 players right now in free agency, it'd be a 4th line centerman. We obviously need that, and a depth defenseman. But first things first is we need a 4th line centerman, because we do not have one. So looking at our options here, there's Lars Eller, 3 teams interested in him. I'm not paying him $26.6 million a year. So Dallas, San Jose, Vancouver, you guys can probably have him. I don't want to be paying him $2.6 a year. The next guy is Mark Letestu, Nick Shore, Andres Martinson, David Desharnais. So it's getting kind of thin down here. Here's Jay Beagle. He's a Calgary native. So, I mean, we got options down here. There's no teams interested in any of these guys yet. So, just looking at it, they're all 78s overall. So, I guess we'll just quickly look at guys like Mark Letestu. Just looking at their defensive stats there as well. Nick Shore's got an okay defensive stats. He's still medium top 9 to 25 years of age. That wouldn't be bad. He's listed as a 3rd line checker. Andres Martinson listed as a 4th line forward. I prefer Shore over him. David Desharnais, Chris Vandevelde, and then Jay Beagle, who's the Calgary native. And he's got some okay defensive stats. So I think we'll try Nick Shore first. Just because he's got the most room to grow. He's only 25 years of age. So, but I don't want to give him 1.8. So, I wouldn't mind giving him $1 million for 3 years. So, a $3 million contract, which is $1 million per season. I know he obviously wants 1.8, but let's try $1 million per 3 years. I don't think that's bad. 78 overall. Again, we're not going to get much better, so we'll offer his contract because the only guy better right now is Lars Eller, and there's 3 teams lined up for him, and I'm not paying him 2.6. So for a fourth line centerman, that's not bad to get a guy like Nick Shore, or if we could get a guy like Jay Beagle, bring those guys in, that wouldn't be bad. But you can see we still have, a list of guys that we can go through if Shore does not accept. Now let's go to defenseman. Here in our depth position. So obviously we can't get Derek Ford, but he's an RFA, so we probably won't get him to begin with. But two, definitely not paying anybody close to $4 million a year. The one guy I wouldn't mind that's on this list is actually Trevor Van Riemsdyk. You can see he's a medium top six. There is one team interested in him already, but he is a defensive defenseman, and he's right shot. Got a right shot, excuse me. So that's the guys we want to target. So when we look at guys here, left shot, right shot, and Andre Souzer, but he's asking for too much money. So it comes down to Trevor Van Riemsdyk, who's a right shot. George's is a left shot, Holden's a left shot, Enstrom's a left shot, Gravel, Tutin, Bieksa, I'm not bringing in Bieksa, Steven Johns is there, he's a right shot, but, so we're just looking at some of our options here, but the best guy available at 80 overall is Trevor Van Riemsdyk, but he is asking for $3.3 million, and there is a team interested in him. So, again, it's New Jersey, but I'll offer him a contract at very similar to what we offered, the last guy who was in, I can't even remember, Nick Shore, similar to what we offered Nick Shore. I just want to go around $1 million. I really have to go at $1 million right now. With New Jersey being interested, obviously they're probably paying him a lot more than that, but we'll just see. You never know. Maybe it's like John Tavares. Maybe they want a change of scenery and maybe a Canadian team or something. So we'll see if that factors in. But let's just advance. So there's Dmitry Yaskins. He has rejected the offer, so we probably could have guessed that with what they were asking for. There's Joe Morrow also rejecting it. They both want more money. Excuse me. That is that. Wotherspoon accepts. Freddie Hamilton accepts. Our captain of the Stockton Heat is back. So we did not get Morrill or Yaskins, so we're going to have to re-offer them. Whoops, I clicked free agency. We're going to have to re-offer them their contracts and then see what we can work with from there. So this is hard because we don't have a lot of money to work with. We can't be paying guys, $1 million. We just don't have that type of money. We brought in John Tavares. That was the penalty of bringing in John Tavares is you don't have a lot of salary cap space left over for all the other guys. But that is okay. We just need guys to fill those final spots and then go from there. So again, Yaskins and Morrill, and then these three guys we had yet to offer too. But let's try Yaskins and Morrill again. So 1.6 is what Dimitri is asking for 2 years. Again, 77. He is going to grow, 25 years of age. 1.275. Let's try that. 1.275. Joe Morrill. Again, he's asking for 1.2. I wonder if we can get him for 1 mil flat. Just try that. See if these guys will take that. We need them to take it. They're only bridge contracts. I mean, in fairness to these guys, once the contracts are up, if they pan out and they get better in those 2 years and become, quality players for us, then of course they're going to get another contract and it's going to be a lot higher than 1 million. But right now it's just a bridge contract. We got to see how these guys are going to pan out. So let's keep advancing. Let's see if we get any guys to respond to us as we continue to take away the days in July. We're now about middle of the month in July, up to the 12th. So there's Trevor Van Riemsdyk. He has decided to go with the San Jose Sharks. So that was the other team that, it was the other guy that they were interested in. So, TVR has decided to go to the Sharks. So no surprise there. We really didn't offer him what he was asking for. Whereas Nick Shore is still considering. So we will now go to the 13th, and there's Nick Shore. So he's rejected. He doesn't think we offered him a high enough salary. Okay. So we can try Shore again. We still need that fourth line centerman, but we are still waiting on Morrill and Yaskins. So we will give another contract to Nick Shore or whoever else is out there. So let's go back to forwards here. Nope, I didn't want forwards. I want centerman, actually. Excuse me. Centerman. Okay, so again, nobody's interested in any of these guys. We still have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that are 78 overall to pick through. So we're not really in a hurry with any of these guys. Right now, both Beagle and Shore are yet to have any guys at them. So you know what? We won't even offer them a contract yet. We'll wait for it to come down just a little bit more. We'll go to our defensemen, and we still have a little bit of a pool to pick from here as well. We lost obviously Van Riemsdyk, but we have some other guys to pick through. So again, looking at right shots, our best right shot defenseman, I hate to say it, but it is Kevin Bieksa. Oh, what's he asking for? 1.9? Yeah, not gonna give you 1.9 Bieksa. Plus, I mean, you're fucking Kevin Bieksa, so. Anybody that's a Flames fan knows how hard it is to bring in. That just doesn't work. Kevin Bieksa and the Flames just don't mix. So I think we'll skip on Bieksa for now. It would, you know what? Realistically, it wouldn't make the fans very happy. It would piss the fans off. So as a management move, it's probably best not to bring in a guy like Kevin Bieksa. Cody Franzen is our next best right shot defenseman. He's at 78 overall. I wanted a guy a little bit higher, 79, 80. But again, you know what? Wouldn't mind trying a guy like Franzen. Cody Franzen, 78. So I'm definitely not paying 1.9. We'll try and get him for under a mil. 950K, excuse me, 2 years. I doubt he's going to accept that. But these guys will have to eventually come down on price. So it might just be a waiting game closer to the month of August. Wow, he's rejected that fast. He did not take long. So he clearly wants a higher salary. Yaskins has again rejected. Jamoral, again, rejected. So, not good. We're having trouble here locking some of these guys up, but we are going to try it again. Third time's the charm, maybe. See if we can get these guys done here. Just thinking. Like, we got 2.99 mil to work with, so again, practically 3 million to work with. We will try these guys again. Morrow for 2 years. What did we try him at before? Let's try 1.3. 1.3 for Morrow. Or, excuse me, Yaskins. Morrow now. He wants 1.2. We tried him at a million flat. Let's try him at 1.15 mil. 1.2. He's asking for 1.25. Yeah, no, 1.15. I think that's fair. So we'll try that. Just advance some days here. And see what we can work with these guys. So. Advance some days here until we can find out what these guys are accepting. Alright, so Yaskins has once again rejected, and Morrill has finally accepted. So we brought Morrill's down by just a little bit. He's accepted it, so that's good. We needed to bring back Morrill. We're now on the 17th of July, so we will try Yaskins again, but we did get Morrill. So we're starting to make progress. Coming along here. So went back to free agency here. Just looking again at our center position and defenseman now that we're about closer to the end of the month. Nick Shore is still available, so we still have that good list of guys there. And when it comes to defensemen, we still have a list to choose from as well. So we will leave that for a second and focus solely on Dmitry Yaskins, getting this guy done with. So let's go to contracts. So give me 1 second. I'm going to try and get Yaskins done. Alright, so we are back. We're about near the end of the month of July, and Yaskins has finally accepted, so I did offer him a 1.25, I believe it was, and he has accepted that, so that is good. Pribble has accepted. I don't remember offering. I guess Austin Carroll also accepted, so I think it just auto-signed these guys to depth contracts, so that's okay. We're probably going to bring them back anyway to help our AHL depth out, so I don't think we have any RFAs remaining now. I think that has taken care of everyone, so let's just take a, went into calendar here, take a quick look, and then we will have a good idea of what we got left to spend on that fourth line center position and that depth defensive position. So let's go to contracts here. I don't believe we have any guys left. Excuse me. RFAs here. Okay. So All right, so our only RFA left is Ryan Lomberg. That's okay. We don't really need to worry about signing him just yet. So that is fine. So now that we have Morrill and Yaskins coming back to Calgary in depth positions, albeit we need to sign a fourth line centerman. That's the most important thing. I would really like to get an eighth defenseman behind Kulak, Morrill, and Anderson, more of a veteran to help out. But the main thing is we need a fourth line centerman. We have to have one. We don't have one right now. And then I would like to add depth to our forward position. But don't forget, the other thing is we got guys like Andrew Mangiapane who might take the jump as well. So during this off season, that's when some of those players in the AHL grow. And you never know. Maybe going into training camp, Andrew Mangiapane or a guy like that. Spencer Fu. I think Spencer Fu's quite far back. I don't think Spencer Fu's going to be close to ready next year. But maybe a guy like Mangiapane takes the jump. So, but if both of those guys took the jump, hey, I mean, then finally we have a good competition. Right now, it doesn't look like we're going to have a good competition for training camp, but because we don't have a lot of bodies. But maybe those guys make the push and try and make the NHL. So it's going to all come down to what happens till we get to the September when guys overall start to go up. It usually happens around August. Okay. So 4 guys are lined up for Nick Shore, so we won't worry about him. There are 4 guys, 4 teams, excuse me. But everybody else is still available here. So we'll make a push for one of these guys. I think the next guy on our list we will try is the Calgary native, Jay Beagle. And how much salary cap do we have left to work with? 2.3. So he wants 1.7 for 2 years. Let's try 1.2. 1.2 for the Calgary native, Jay Beagle. And you know what? We even will try another guy just in case. If we get both of them, it won't matter. So let's try one of these guys because they're asking for 900K. David Desharnais or Chris Vandervelde. So I don't think it's going to matter too much. They're both 78 overall. They're both depth guys. Whoops. Let's go here. 31 and 31. Desharnais slightly has the better defensive stats. So usually when I come down to, he's not overly physical, but he's got the better defensive stats. Slightly better speed as well in his game. So I think we'll try David Desharnais, the former Montreal Canadian. We'll offer him a contract. And again, he's wanting 950K. I wonder if we can get him for 850K. 1 year, one way, under $1 million. Pretty much is an AHL contract, but he could be fighting for an NHL spot, and it gives us depth down there. So I think what we will do here is, now that we're at the end of the month, now that that's all we have to worry about, is we'll start simming by the weeks. So let's sim right up to the beginning of August. And then, Beagle's already rejected, so he wants a higher salary. So let's keep going. Lomberg, again, it was the auto sign they must have on, so he's accepted, whatever. That gives us more depth. Desharnais has rejected, so we will try those guys again then, now that we are at the beginning of August. And then I think we'll stop episode 12 here in a bit, and we will start the preseason and the training camp. Obviously, the 2018-19 season in episode 13. So this will be a shorter episode, but that is okay. So let's go back to free agency here, and let's just see if we can get one of those depth centermen there. So still quite a few guys. We're in August now, August 1st, the dog days of summer, and there's still quite a few guys out here that are on the market. So Markinson's has 2 guys on him. Letestu has a team on him, but Beagle's still nobody. He wants more salary, the Calgary native, so we offered him, I think, 1.3. Let's try 1.4. That's a lot. I don't like paying guys this much, especially. But, if he can be a quality fourth-line centerman, you know how important those guys are. So if that's the case, then, I'll be happy with it. But I just don't like paying depth guys like that, over $1 million a year. But again, he's only asking for 1 year as well. So, if things don't work out this time next year, he's not back on our team. So that's the good thing about this. So again, we'll go a week in advance here. So Beagle has rejected. So he's decided to go to Long Island to play with John Tavares' former team. So not good, not good. We did not get the guy we wanted. It's 2 or 3 guys that we wanted that we did not get. But we can go from here. So Back to free agency then we go. And let's see, who should we try this time? Shouldn't be too many guys left. There isn't. We're really down into the 77s now. So we really kind of lost out there. So we're going to have to... Cedric Parquet has got room to grow. He's at 24 years of age. He also wants the cheapest contract of the 77 guys, except for Derek Roy. So do we try maybe Roy at 900K? Playmaker 35, veteran. You know what? We'll try him, and we'll give him exactly what he wants. 900K over 2 years. So try him. Not going to get any better than that. Fourth line centerman. That's all we need right now. Just thinking here. Cedric Parquet. What happens if I offered you 900 million too? We'll see what happens. See if we can get at least one of these guys. Both of these guys would be a bonus, but at least one of these guys, and we'll go from there. So, obviously not easy when you don't have a lot of salary cap to work with. You don't get the guys you want, so it's not easy. But as long as we get one of these guys, we just need to fill that spot. So we did get Cedric Parquet for 900K, so that's not bad. And we did also get Derek Roy, so that's a bonus. We just got 2 depth forwards. So you know what? We are done. We are done. I would have liked to add a depth defenseman, but we're not going to get any now in free agency. I think we'll go in with what we got. Morrill, Kulak, and Anderson. And you never know. If things aren't working throughout the season, we can make a trade. So I think we're done with free agency now. That is good. So let's get right into September. Let's get right up to training camp here, and then we'll stop this video, and we will start episode 13 with preseason and the training camp. So I just want to see if we can get right up against the preseason, which is also the training camp. I think I explained it in episode 1, how I use preseason as training camp. We'll get to that, though, again in episode 12, or 13. It's 13, right? Yeah. So we are in September now. Should be very close to preseason here. Let's just try going by the days here. 2 days at a time. Come on, preseason. Should be any time here. All right, so funds, that is good. Still nothing. Okay, here we go. We're good. So, okay, so we'll quickly look at our owner goals to end off this video. So they want us to win the Stanley Cup. That's our main goal. Then you know what? That's our goal for us too. We want to win the Stanley Cup. Defend home ice. Get 30 home wins. Upgrade. Yeah. Okay, so win at least 6 home playoff games. Okay, so some pretty big goals there. Yeah, so I want to set captains and edit lines, but I will do that for the start of the season. So that's what I want to look at as our lines now to end this video, so we know what we have to work with. So John Tavares is a Calgary Flame. I still can't believe it. Okay, so edit lines, just quickly looking at our lines. So right now they got Gaudreau. Let's try and make this as close as possible. Gaudreau, Monahan, Neal, Frolik, Tavares, Tkachuk. Bennett, we want there. Bennett's jumped to an 83, so that is good. Tkachuk has jumped to an 87, so that is also good. Frolik stays in 82. Parquet, Furland, Yaskins is there. Where is Mark Jankowski? He must be in our AHL roster. He is... Mangiapane stays at a 76. Fu stays at a 74. So I told you, these guys just aren't ready yet. They need at least another year, but they're getting there. So that is good. So back to NHL here. I don't know where Mark Jankowski is. He must be a scratch player, and he is 78. So Jankowski does not grow. Derek Roy stays at a 77. So that's unfortunate. I was hoping Jankowski would take a bigger step, but he'll continue to grow. That's the main thing. When it comes to defensemen, Giordano and Hamilton, Brody and Hamnick, they all stay the same. Morrill and Kulak. Morrill jumps to 78, so he raises by 1. Kulak as well. And then when we came to scratch players, Roy was there. I just wanted to look at our AHL team here and starting the lineup and defense. So we have Rasmus Anderson has jumped to 78, so I think he was a 76. So he's jumped by 2 spots. I think he's going to be in the NHL. They got Juuso Välimäki there at 69. He's not NHL ready, but a full year of pro should do him good. And then where is Kulak? Anderson, Moore. Okay, I guess everybody was there accounted for. I was just double checking. So that is good. Last thing I want to look at is goalies. Parsons, 74, so he jumps by 2, and Schneider stays 66. That's fine. Gillies, 73. So he only jumped by 1. Parsons is actually the better goalie right now. But I want to continue to grow Parsons in the AHL. So we'll keep Gillies as our backup behind Mike Smith, who actually drops by 1. So we can only pray that Mike Smith plays better. He was an 83 all of last year, but I swear he played like an 87. So we can only hope that he continues to play like in high 80s versus the low 80s. So we will end this episode here, just a look at our players and what they did over the summer. A couple guys raising by 1 or 2 spots. They will get better as time goes on. But that is a look at our team that we have. So we'll start preseason. We'll start the training camp in the next episode. And we will get right up to the beginning of the season and might even start simming the regular. Well, we probably will start simming the regular season in the next episode. So that does it for this one. Very exciting offseason comes to an end. Now the battle and the true stuff begins here in training camp. And the 2018-19 season is right around the corner. This is a big year for Calgary. Can we make the push? Let's find out in the next episode.